2024, 10 o'clock. Please join me for the pledge.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any media questions? I don't see anybody on Zoom.
Sound is off.
Thanks, guys.
Sorry, all phones should be silenced before the meeting?
Yes. Sorry. It's from the ex-speaker of the House, so I probably should have answered it. But anyway. Okay.
You'll help us on something to do with our hay or something?
No.
Someone else?
No media questions? Public comment?
Yes, Fred Kane from Oak Carroll.
Hey, Fred. Good morning.
Good morning. I'd like to thank Mr. Hool and return his paperwork that I requested a copy of that the county decided not to send me. I have mine right there. I have zip drives of it also. Cost me over $200 that my county really owes me these papers where I've requested it. Has the county commissioners read some of these text messages?
Anyone care to answer?
Can I see them for a second? Just breeze over it. I can't tell you until
Have you read them?
I know, I just like to see it, I can tell you that. You get so many of this stuff. Okay, thank you. I wouldn't have been in office, some of this stuff. Bulk of them, I wasn't even in office. Bulk of them, I wasn't in office at that time.
Correct. But I still think it's important that as sitting county commissioners, you review this to see what's going on. We did have an issue with the hay, and the very first text on here is December 10th, 2021, from Mr. DeWitt. Hi, Matt. I put your bill together today. Looks like $24.95 for this year and last year. Thanks. Are you there today? I could use a bale of hay. That hay was not paid for until 2023. And he was still receiving hay. I don't understand. If I don't pay my water bill, they shut my water off. If I don't pay my electric bill, they shut my electric off. Why was the county continuing to give that gentleman hay? The text messages are right here on there. Also, I want to bring up one other fact. Will had sent to one of the employees. Did you spend the rest of your tool budget on tools before the end of the year? We still have money. Come up with some ideas where we spend it. We still have a few weeks. You know, okay, how much do we have to spend? It's probably a couple of grand. I'll give you a list, 2,000 to 3,000. Maybe send a list. It's good to have ideas. Sweep, impact wrenches, ratchets. Not that they don't have that stuff. They're just looking to spend the county's money before the end of the year, then to put it back in and return it, you know, to spend it just because they have it left over is absolutely wrong. And as county commissioners, you should be looking into those things and cutting the budget and saving it for the residents of Carroll County. Thank you.
Yeah, I guess it's, Kevin who lives down the road there. It's always much easier to spend somebody else's money. It's, yeah, I guess if anybody wants to read these, they can get a hold of me and you can copy them. It's kind of interesting. I guess one of the county trucks' name is Bertha or something, and apparently they're, one of the text messages was from Mark, and he asked Will if there was any hay customers in, what was it, Denmark, Maine, or somewhere near Freiburg, if he could, because he had to bring Bertha to get his snowmobiles or something to, you know, I've said it before, and I'll say it again, it's like, you know, when you're public employees working for a public entity, it's not like a private hobby farm, you know, these are public vehicles, they're public employees, and just, you know, I sound like a broken record, but it's a sense of entitlement with Mr. DeWitt and no oversight. Thank you.
Any other public comment? Seeing none?
I have a question,
Okay.
and it's probably for Mr. Murray, and I've asked this a few times to him. You have 5 vehicles out there, sheriff's vehicles. They've been sitting there for months. I'm just wondering if you're ever gonna put them up for auction.
I believe that some of them, didn't we just get 2 new vehicles, Bob?
Yes, and they
And
will
so
be put
two
up
of
for
them are-
auction. I had intended on doing it about a month ago, but then we got hit with a couple of snowstorms, and I didn't want to have to deal with cleaning them off or removing the snow, selling them with the snow there. But now it's time to sell them, and when I get back from vacation, it's going to be very high on my list of things to do.
Okay, because I've been waiting for, I don't know, it's been, 6 months, over 6 months.
Yeah.
They're getting flat tires, they're going to crap, and I was hoping to put a bid in on one of them, but now there's some other towns in the area that are actually gonna start selling their stuff as well, so, you know, it's gonna be,
Understood. Like I said, when I get back from vacation, it's going to be very high on my list of things to do.
okay, thank you.
Any other questions, input? Okay. We will go to the approval of the meeting minutes of April 11th. Any comments or questions, commissioners?
I'll make a motion to accept those minutes.
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Accounts payable for April 17th, $757,398.35. Payroll for April 19th, $282,851.01. Annual report.
I need to get with the commissioners to review your portion of the annual report. If we could do that at some point.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'll make a motion to accept.
Not the annual report
Oh,
yet.
okay.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. And I don't have anything for Hales today, so we won't have to go into Board Selectmen meeting.
Madam Chair, I don't know if you want to do the forest land reimbursement. I put it in section 4.
Yep.
Well, last year you did it because your meetings used to just be combined. You didn't recess for
Right.
Hales. So I'm not sure if you want to do it in
Yep.
regular or in Hales. And I did have one set of meeting minutes from April 2nd. It's actually just one sentence.
Yeah, I
It's
saw it.
also,
Okay, we can do that.
Okay,
That's
thank
what I
you.
thought. Okay. We'll go into recess, and we will open the Board of Selectmen's meeting for Hales location.
10:09.
I need a motion for the minutes.
So moved.
Second?
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
excuse me.
Okay. And we need a motion to, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this, but she's got, because Hales has federal land, they get not an abatement, but they get money back every year for taxes.
I think it's like a payment in lieu of
Payment.
taxes.
Yes,
Yeah, from USDA.
yeah,
And it has to be applied to a school district.
to school district. And since Hale sends their kids to Conway, that's where. Okay, I'll need a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's like $600. Dallas just asked how much it was.
$629.59. It was,
There's the letter to sign, I'll send that to the Department of Ed.
Do you know if they, I know Conway is, people were pulling in, I have no idea what Hales ended up doing.
or, no,
Part of the school
no,
district.
they
and
have a
were
contract. Oh, God, yeah.
Contract.
It'll be up in, I think we did a 3-year contract. I think it'll be up next year.
And then those are the regular meeting minutes to sign when you get back to the commissioners meeting.
We will, I need a motion to adjourn the Hales Selectmen's meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
10:12.
10:12, and we are going back into our county commissioners meeting, and that is 10:12. Okay. Next thing we have is the bid opening for the carpet replacement.
Good morning.
Where are they replaced, actually put in the carpet?
So about a month ago, we put out an RFP for the carpet replacement for the Mount Washington Valley room and the associated multi-purpose room, the two big rooms at the nursing home. They sustained some damage a couple of Christmases ago.
These guys did a good job.
Oh, I didn't see it.
Did say sealed bid? They sealed them all right.
They did. Now, I don't know which, this was obviously mailed. That was obviously mailed. Which ones were not?
The one that Commissioner McGee just had in his hand, that was emailed.
I have two of the same.
Okay, and that one doesn't have a stamp on it,
Right.
but
Okay.
has a date time, I guess, when it was received.
Okay. Okay. Commissioner Mickey, would you like to read one? Yours?
I have a bid from ADF Flooring LLC, 248 East Davis Road, Suite 8, Concord, New Hampshire, in the amount of $24,919.58 to include fairly well itemized Dazzle Carpet Tile Premium Collection
That went on for $1,600, and there are various other things that bring it to the $24,919.58.
And that was mailed,
That was, well, it was in a sealed envelope,
but no stamp.
Okay.
but it just says save a stamp, so it was mailed.
Does it- I have two questions. Does it say, what, is it glued down, is it tile carpet?
It's, I can go through the whole thing. It's removal carpet, remove glue from carpet, eco feather, which I'm not familiar with, prep hourly, scrape and clean, Proma 8010, 4 gallons, I'm assuming that's some kind of adhesive. Dazzle carpet tile, premium collection, carpet tile installation, Cove base adhesive, Cove base, and Cove base installation. That's what it, that's the itemization.
And they're both in the same place?
Yeah, it's just a copy.
Oh, okay.
Evidently Bob had a copy of it.
Yeah. Okay.
They emailed it to me and I said, it's gotta be hand delivered or it's gotta be
Okay, so
sealed
this
in.
is, so they did mail it?
This one.
Apparently they did.
This one's the mailed one.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
I have one here, application and carpet replacement, and it's from United Builders, okay? Unified, excuse me, let me say that. Unified Builders from Barrington. The scope of work will be 3,000 square feet of broadloom glued down carpet to be removed, disposed of, and replaced with carpet tiles. Carpet tiles to be 24 by 24, glued down, color and pattern to be determined. The client is to remove all furniture and equipment where the carpet is to be installed. Client is to remove all debris from the floor. Dumpster will be delivered to the site and is included in the proposal. Okay. Between the owner, labor includes travel time for our corporate office. Unforeseen conditions such as rot repair or main structure is not included. Owners will supply electricity for the duration of the project. Unified Builders is an independent contractor dedicated to providing excellent service and quality workmanship. Every project will not take direction from the client on how they should conduct such services. If the quality of our work would be compromised or such direction for services is a violation of code and restrictions of other standards in the industry. And it goes on and on. Okay. $15,246.07. They should have pictures of all the carpeting that they have.
You also have another one?
This one. I'm going to do that one more time. Okay. We're going to do the last one. Oh, this one. We're going to read that one. I think so. Heckman's flooring. 2 large functional rooms, carpet tiles to be determined, estimate based on 2 different qualities, options to remove old, glued down carpet and dispose, supply, and install new carpet tiles. Chosen an option. Option 1, good quality mat and labor. Option 2, better quality mat and labor. All furniture will be out for us. Do not pay attention to the bottom total. Option 1 is $22,050. Option 2 is $27,550. Do not pay attention. They added the 2 together at the bottom.
And that was the one that was emailed,
Okay?
correct?
No, that was hand delivered.
Okay, I'll write that down here.
Which,
That one there was hand delivered and sealed,
okay,
so that was good. The one in question is the one that Chuck had.
okay, and so they
They
did-
emailed it to me, but I called them up and said, no, you can't do that.
So we don't have any,
So
okay.
obviously they followed it up with a sealed
Okay.
bid, which is what they're supposed to do.
Okay, so I have one from Edge Pro Flooring Inc. From Newton, New Hampshire. approximately 3,000 square feet of broadloom glue-down carpet to be removed, disposed of, and replaced with carpet tiles. Carpet tiles to be 24 by 24, glue down, color, and pattern to be determined. Our proposal bid is in the amount below for this project, $11,444.
Pretty big disparity.
I know. Well, we're going to hand these over to you, and we'll come back with a recommendation.
Yeah, is that all of them? Okay. As you know, I'm going to be gone next week,
Yep.
so we won't be talking about this again for about 2 weeks.
So you go through them and compare
Yeah.
samples of power, yeah, all right, okay,
Look at these all together.
This is this one.
These go in that.
What's on the bottom there, the 2 copies? Did you look at that? What's in the second?
Looks like two copies of the same thing.
Okay, you have all those.
All right, got them all?
Okay. Okay, next is the county land lease, hay operations. Thank you, Bob. Bill, Will, would you like to come up and give us your recommendation? We did receive some letters of interest.
Morning.
Good morning. We did, how many letters did we get?
So we got one letter.
One letter.
Yep. There was a couple of emails, but they didn't turn in any letters. The gentleman that wrote the letter spent a lot of time with me going out in the fields and checking things out and talking about how we've done things in the past and his capabilities, and he just felt that we were a little late in the year to try to get a contract through, and you know, all the approvals from our end and whatnot, because it won't be long here, the grass is going to be growing. So that was his concern with moving forward at this point. So I guess, you know, our best option at this point, I would say, is that we move forward and continue the hay operation this year, and if commissioners decide in the future that they want to review it in the fall or next winter or whenever you guys choose, that would be your choice, obviously. But I got people calling already, starting to ask questions. I telling them I don't know what we're doing. I don't know what the hay policy is. You know, I'm kind of at a standstill right now until you guys decide where we're going and give me some direction to manage towards that direction. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Questions? It would be, and I have also had people say that they can't, it's not time enough. So,
I
Commissioner
have
Nelson?
questions, and I don't know if this is a public thing to bring it, but I don't care. Can anybody change what they're planting? In other words, could somebody plant pumpkins or marijuana or whatever they wanted? Could they change the meaning of the land, or they just do the land period?
The idea of putting letters of interest was just for that. So if someone came in and said they want to grow 10 acres of sweet corn and 5 acres of pumpkins, that they would have that option if you guys chose. But we wanted to see what people wanted to do. I also, when I talked, the few people I did talk to, I had a list of bullet points which I've shared with you guys, and I did mention in there that if their contract isn't renewed the last year it needs to be ceded back to hay, so that we're back where we started with if we had to take the operation. So the next person came in and took the operations over. So that was one of the things that I told people that was an important thing to me, but it wasn't decided or voted on by you guys yet. That would be something that would probably be in an RFP that you guys make that decision. But that would be my recommendation, and I told them I would be recommending that to you guys.
I have to take this.
Commissioner, what do you think?
Two more
No, I
questions.
think at this point, it's too late in the game to do anything other than proceed as we have in the past. And then really take a good look at it and say what we want to do.
That would be my recommendation, that we could proceed, the money's in the budget to do whatever you need to do, and then put some RFPs together for the fall for next year. If we, so that, I mean, that's,
Yeah, I
considering
mean,
the
we're way
times.
into it now, it's April already, it's too late to do
Right,
anyway.
it is because we'd have to come up with the RFPs, send them out, and they come back, we have to vote on them, and then the delegation has to vote, so we're talking probably 6 weeks or so.
And when we do this process, if we end up doing this process, I would
Okay.
caution, which I've said, or recommend that, we have a really legit
Right,
contract. We've had, my time here, we've had a lot of handshake things happen, and it seems like the county always takes the brunt of it, and my department has to go clean up our lands for different things that have happened, and I would
Remember?
like not to.
Yeah, the wood.
There's that, there's been other, loggers that have come across the land, and, there's just been several instances, and I would hope that we could do the best we could to prevent that, because, so we don't have to go through that in the future.
How about using equipment of the, tractors and all that stuff? Is that, have we cleared that out? I can't remember, the kind of back and forth from people in public asking, well, it's public property, they should be able to use it. Have we nailed that one down?
My recommendation to the commissioners would be no. That, again, you guys as the bosses make the decisions on it, but there's a lot of, I don't know what all the liability issues are, but from my perspective, if we have someone come in and use that equipment and then it gets broke or they're not the right operators, then who's paying for that? Are we paying for it? If we have to get back into the business after the contract, now is our equipment not usable because 3 years later, 2-3 years later?
No, okay, that's fine.
I think we would be better off, my suggestion would be better off, they bring their equipment in. We mothball ours for a little while to make sure the contract and the individual is good. And then if the commissioners decide in the future, then sell the equipment and get rid of it rather than lending it out to people, because the more operators and people that you have running equipment just causes more problems and.
We have a liability issue also.
Correct.
If you're using our equipment.
Two more.
Right.
2 more.
So we
Oh,
have
yep.
our property, our equipment, and not an employee out there. I would think there's a lot of issues that could come from that.
Just thinking to another, it's a question for everybody. We made a big issue out of making the employees extra pay and extra something. Would it pay us to sell hay, you can set a quantity, to anybody who was employed by the county, an incentive to work for the county, basically? So Mrs. Jones, who works as a nurse over there, and she has a little farm, she lives over in Maine, but she comes here every day to work, should she be able to buy hay? I don't know, I know it's a hot button issue, but I wanted to bring it up.
Well, I live up the street, I can't buy hay. I think,
Excuse me, you're out of order, sir.
well, growing pumpkins and corn is kind of ridiculous if there's a shortage of hay.
This is to you, I guess, to folks. I just think of, we give all these incentives to people to work
I would
for here.
think that would, when we do the hay policy, that would be in it, something to address whatever.
Another hot button was delivery. We got to nail that one down.
Yep.
And the payment, that's my concern.
Yes,
So
well,
could I just make a comment?
you may.
In the past, since I've been here, and I believe before I was here, we have had different employees from other departments, and they have always, because they're a county employee, have always been towards the top of the list as a benefit that they work for the county. And we try to take care of our own here. So that's.
I think Commissioner Lawley were on the phone, we had talked about, because it's so late, that we will go ahead and hay this. and
I
then-
agree with that.
And then come out with the RFPs and the contract in the fall, if we still have interest, so.
Yeah. We're agreed.
But there was a question about delivery, so.
Yes, sir. Can you repeat that question? I'm sorry.
Delivery, how is it going to run? Who pays for the delivery? Is delivery free? Does, somebody come and pick it up, or assuming everybody's paying with a check at this point? prepay,
Delivery
or pay on the spot.
who's this
But is
Brad?
delivery,
I'm sorry,
is
Madam
it
Chairman, I can't
deli-
hear real well with all the chatter going on.
is delivery an option?
Excuse me,
I was talking to Fred.
I know, but
Is
they,
the-
he can't hear.
This is much ado about nothing anyway.
Is delivery an option? And do they pay for it? I know we've talked before that sometimes a truck delivers somebody somewhere. Is that an option, and do they pay gas or something toward the delivery of hay?
Yes, sir. So in the past, we have a minimum amount, generally the whole truck has to be full,
Okay.
to go out. There has been a couple exceptions if there's a local person where we don't have a lot of hay, we got one bale, we're going by there, we've dropped it off. They do pay a fee. In the round bales, we can fit 6 in the truck, and it's a minimum of $5 a bale. When gas prices were or diesel prices were almost $6 2 years ago, that price went from $30 to more like $45. I judge it on the diesel price. And the square bales, we've always had a 100 bale minimum, and then we charge them the same, usually around $30 fee, depending on gas prices. It's been high in the past. And then we also charge more per bale versus coming out of the barn.
Okay, thank you.
In the last couple of years, we have limited our delivering capabilities because I don't have a staff. We used to have one guy that would take 2 inmates and have plenty of time to go deliver to people. We don't have that now. We need to be here on the complex working. So I've encouraged a lot more of the employees, the customers in the past to come here to the complex.
Thank you. Said that.
So I guess you're paying.
Okay.
I'm not sure we should be delivering, but I don't quite understand. Do the independent people that sell hay deliver?
Some do, some offer it. Some it's just you come and pick up. And I have no problem, not delivering. It makes my life easier here on the complex. But we have offered it in the past, and so that's just what I'm going off as the past. And so,
Question, quick?
Yes, who sets the price on the hay or the delivery? Shouldn't that be through the commissioners and not the DPW manager?
It will be based on the new hay policy that we're going to talk about today.
Yeah, and I agree with Commissioner McGee. I don't think the county should be delivering hay. Most farmers have their own equipment and would pick up their own. Thank you.
Thank you.
is there anything else that you need? Madam Chairman?
Probably, I don't think so.
Okay, I'm gonna just be out here working.
Okay,
If
we
you guys
need to
need,
call
just
you.
call me. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. I had just one other thing, number 7, and then Siemens is here.
Yeah. I don't know if we, I would say let's, I don't know if we have time to do that, because Siemens is here at 10:30, and then we have another thing at 11. Can we do this after,
Sure. Yep.
if we have time?
Okay.
Okay. I guess I should give us a little good news, and then we'll bring Siemens up, is that I received and passed on to finance that we will be receiving $165,000 in the opioid suit within the next month. So that's some good news. And Siemens, hey, come on up. And Bonnie?
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So it's just me today, but Kevin is on the call. So I figured if we had any technical questions, we could kind of just go through it with him and kind of call him in. Unfortunately, him and Brian are both on vacation this week. So you just have me.
That's okay. That's okay.
So, I I know time is a little bit of the essence in a few fronts, but I think what Melissa is passing around. Okay, do you all have the most recent 2 copies? Yes. That one? Yep, okay. So last time we were here, we had taken a look at, and I printed a few of these as well, but they're the plans that were broken out into various sections and A through G, and we had basically said that Section A was going to be left out and to phase it so that that could maybe be something that we work on later down the road. So we had hoped that we would have gotten these numbers back sooner, but here we are today. So I kind of took it a step beyond that and used a little creative license, and I hope you'll give me a couple minutes to kind of talk through what I'm thinking. But before we get into that, I think we go through what you had asked for last time. So if we are to take out just Section A, the paper that you would be looking at is the total cost of approximately $7.1 million. I think it's in the top of bold. And so unfortunately, given that we have gone back to this general contractor a few different times and asked for some rescoping and massaging around, this last time he didn't give us a breakout of everything. He kind of just gave a lump sum for mechanical, electrical, plumbing, but it is substantially descoped. So most everything did come down. And there's there's 3 variations of pricing. The first time that we had come back to you, which was for $9.1 million approximately, now this 7.1. But that is doing everything minus Section A, which is basically this meeting area and the kitchen. So my next thought is on the next page. And I don't know if this is possible, but I'm going to throw it out. So I took kind of like a holistic view of what we have for an overall scope of work for that $9.1 million that we reviewed last time. And if we were to take out the signage, which is just like nameplates and various organization around the building, as well as the kitchenettes, and turn them into closets, and the loading dock, we could still have full controls, automation controls, and still do Section A, which is this general vicinity. We would still have full kitchen equipment and the hookups. We would obviously still have the meeting space. And there's also still a little bit of room for like massaging around if we're not close to that number. And we could also, in theory, take out the envelope ceiling, which is, there is an energy saving component to it, but it's one of the smaller measures, and it's something that can be brought back into the conversation later on. So envelope sealing is usually something that we would do in the construction phase towards the end after we've worked on the inside, and if we get to the end of next year when all the rest of the construction is completed, it's very easy to do a change order and just, well, it wouldn't necessarily, well, yeah, I guess it would be a change order to move it back into the project. Or we could keep it in the project, and if it doesn't end up working out, funds are getting too tight, then we can do a deductible change order. So I think the thing I'm kind of aiming towards and throwing out this idea is that we've talked about applying for additional money, and I think that one of the main draws, in addition to having all the space for everyone in the municipal building to come over and work here, is that having the space for meeting areas, having the kitchen so that it can eventually maybe draw some revenue, and also too, if you have people coming in and out, that this is kind of a landing spot to see the progress and see a beautiful transformation. So We can still phase it out, but I know another thing we had talked about was that if the delegation is gonna be on board, they're gonna want the entire building to be completed. So this is still the entire building completed. The loading dock is something, sorry Bob, but we can add on the back end. And if we were to get midway through, more money came through, the kitchenettes are something that can be retrofitted within a closet.
Ava, what was the last price we had, 9,000 what?
9,026,058. And I actually have that, if you want it. Or check out my person.
Thank you.
Initial thoughts.
Bob, questions, thoughts?
Processing.
Yes.
Just a question, Ava, to do section A, you're estimating how much?
So, approximately, so the challenge with breaking it out is that they're saying basically a difference of approximately 2 million, give or take, for this area. But the problem that my team and I have kind of been talking about is that that's right now. And, you know, if we get a year, 2 years down the road,
Yep.
it's probably going to go up, given construction.
Bonnie, you have any questions?
I just want to make sure I understand. So when you were here a few weeks ago, the proposal price was 9 million, and Bob had asked you to look at a few of the numbers. And we had suggested taking out section A.
Yep.
But you're saying that with sharpening your pencil with the items that Bob suggested, we could still do the entire complex for 8.2.
Yes.
Is your
That's my
creative thinking.
creative thinking, but my
Less the loading dock.
the caveat is the loading dock and the
Right.
kitchenettes.
It's too much.
Okay.
I still have, I don't have the last meeting's paperwork that's down in the office.
Here.
Did you, well, it doesn't have my notes on it.
Oh,
You don't have my notes.
okay, I don't.
Were any of the pricing that I had questioned
Yep.
been looked at?
So I actually have some notes from what you were saying. Okay, for
You want to see this piece?
I have right here.
I was questioning the fire protection.
Yep, so the fire protection did come down. Oh, where are we here? Okay, fire protection was at 238,000. It's now at 212.
Over on this sheet.
Yep.
That's if we don't do this section. If we do this section, it's at 232.
Yep.
So it's come down $8,000, but I still don't understand what we're spending $200,000 on fire protection.
It's sprinkler systems, it's... Hey Kev, can you,
Yeah, the fire protection contractor, he was putting the replacement of the heads in there. I don't know, I know you mentioned wanting to keep them, and I have to see if I can chat with him directly to see why we can't keep them, because he has, I've been talking through Hutter, and we've I just want to be able to determine. I haven't heard the determination of why. I'm not sure if it's because once those heads are taken off, he's not sure if they're going to be able to be used again. So I just need to get that determination of why they do have replaced. If it was just a worst case scenario type thing.
Yeah, these sprinkler heads, I believe, were replaced last in 1987-ish, and they've got a 50-year lifespan.
Yeah. Yeah, so it sounds like 35 years or something like that.
Yeah.
36 years.
My concern too is if we're ripping out ceilings, that, does that have anything to do with it, Kevin? That if we're moving?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, so they do have, flex to all the, the sprinkler heads so that you can center the heads in the tiles, ceiling tiles. That was one of the notes in there. So, yeah, I think that's part of it as well, is just having that flex to those heads.
I don't want to get hung up
Make
too
sure.
long on any one number.
Sure.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I just said I don't want to get hung up too long in this meeting in any one number.
Sure.
And Bonnie, what was our final total that we had?
I didn't bring it with me.
Okay.
Do you have it?
Okay.
I gave it to Melissa, so she's got it with her.
She's got it on her computer.
I can't screen share in here yet, but that one?
Yeah, so we have 8,049,000, so we're very close. And I actually need to have a discussion regarding the water project with Will this afternoon, because there may be another 200,000 or so in the water funds that we set aside for ARPA. So we're very close.
Bonnie, what's that number again, 8,000,002?
8,049,107.
Thank you.
So we're right at the full project, we were at a $977,000 deficit. But with the pared down project, we're very close. Within a couple $100,000.
Does the money, oops, I'm sorry.
No, right? Sure. And that does not include the CDBG grant that we're trying to apply for as well. So that's $500,000.
That hits in July, do you remember?
July.
And the voucher is in there, the 75,000 is in that figure.
The most recent interest that we've accrued on NARPA, is that included too?
Yep, I've actually projected it through the end of the year. Yep.
But in reality, it's not 9,026. It's 9,026 plus the 126,000 for the asbestos abatement.
Yeah, and I think for the asbestos abatement, we talked about this last time, this is just one quote. And, it's not really in Siemens scope, we haven't drilled into it too much, but there was someone that walked through to do an asbestos number. I think there's a lot of value, 126 is pretty high, I think. So, there's value in going back and trying to show that up.
Yep. And we haven't included any paving or outside landscaping either.
No.
We have to keep that into consideration. That parking lot will need to be paved. It's coming up in chunks.
Bill, any other questions?
Yeah, I'm curious. I realize all these grants are money, it's not free money. So somebody's paying for it somewhere along the line. But what are we getting, what portion of this is totally grants with none of our money thrown in? County money rather than taxpayer money?
All of it. Everything is.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, that's what I thought, but I want to make sure.
The only piece that you could argue is the interest earnings, but the interest earnings are in fact on the ARPA money. So we're keeping it within the ARPA project.
And I'm just throwing this out, we've already discussed it, but just remember that This grant money we'd be using, and this seems like a lot of money to put into this building. It is. I think this is a lot of money to put into this building. But this grant money is available. If we don't use it, someone else is going to. It's going to get spent some way, somehow in the United States. And if we don't grab our portion, someone else is going to grab it and spend it.
And it would cost triple to build something new, if I'm,
Yeah.
okay. Any other questions, gentlemen?
Not really. I'm just, I am concerned about losing the loading dock. That's an integral part of the,
Well, we might be able to pick up something, I know, we can get that, but
Not
it's something that can go on after.
yeah.
Yep.
So timeline, we have September 24 for that grant, the Go for a grant, which is coming up.
How, is the rest of your team going to be available for next week?
Next week,
Okay.
yep. But I think you're on
Oh,
vacation.
you're on
Yeah, I won't be
vacation.
here next week.
We can certainly come back, though.
You can meet without me.
Well, I think we just got to make up our mind whether, which we're going with, what we're going to do, and, okay.
I think you ought to, my humble opinion is I think you ought to get as much as you can for the money that we have.
Yeah,
Even if it means sacrificing the loading dock for now, I wouldn't want to stop the project for that.
yeah. Because we could, that's outside kind of thing, we can
Yeah.
do that. And we might have the money as we go along, too.
Yep.
Yeah, or you might make the money after having some people rent out the kitchen.
Maybe.
Revenue
I doubt
drivers.
it. Okay, so why, yes,
Well, I just have I don't know whether it's a valid concern, but I just kind of want to throw it out there.
Sure.
Is that it seems like the subs are really difficult in getting pricing, and because we are under such timelines to spend this money, I mean, both Melissa and I have reached out about an extension on the Gopher grant.
Sure.
I did get word back from them that they'll be meeting in May or June, so we really won't have an answer on it until then.
Yeah.
But what is your feeling about having contracts in place and committing all of these funds
Yeah.
by December? By September or December.
So I think the biggest challenge right now is that they're not getting paid on any of the work that we're asking them to do, and they don't know that we're So we as in Siemens have selected because of they were the lowest qualified, most attentive bidder out of anyone that came through to walk. So they don't know that we have done that, and once they do know that they can get scheduled on their books, I think some of it is just like frustrations of, oh, here we go again, another pricing fluctuation. We don't even know if we're going to get this job.
Kicking tires.
Yeah.
Kicking tires down the road. So, I mean, Kevin has been fabulous, Brian has been fabulous in keeping some kind of connection, conversation back and forth, but I think it's just been on the back burner because they don't know if they're going to get the work.
Yeah, understood.
So if we can say, hey, we're booked, we're starting in July, I think we'll, because they need to be able to schedule out what their summer looks like too, so that they can have everyone in line and have their payroll set up and start ordering materials, no different than us.
And ordering materials would take up a large chunk. That might get that portion that needs to
Yeah.
be spent by the end of September, just by ordering air conditioners and
Right.
whatever.
Where do we operate while the rest of the
Yes.
operation while this is being done?
I think we can still stay in here while they're working down there, and then
We'll
when.
phase it out.
Yeah, we can phase it out. Melissa, is there a scheduled delegation meeting anytime soon?
There is not.
Because we can make a decision if we're going to go through, but then we have to get the
Recommend it.
delegations
Sure.
approval.
So you know that's a process, so that delays us further, but.
Okay.
Do we know how, did you say, was there a meeting in June scheduled, or did I
No.
just make that up?
No.
I can make some calls, see if we can get it sooner rather than later.
Okay.
I'll try. Would you want them back next week or do you think there's no need until we can get a date with the delegation?
I mean, the delegation's gonna want your vote. The chair, I'm just
Yeah, our vote.
anticipating he's gonna want your vote. He's gonna want what the plan looks like, and then we schedule the meeting. He's not gonna schedule a meeting if you haven't taken any action yet.
All right, well, just go through this and talk about it, and we can make a decision next week, whether to proceed or not.
All right, let me
Okay.
know. Anything else I can,
Okay, and you're available for next week? Okay,
whole week?
perfect.
Okay,
We'll see you next Thursday.
sounds good. All right, I'll bring my posse that time.
Yeah, please.
We can do
All
it
right,
reverse,
thanks,
find out
Thank you.
when they want.
Do you guys have the printed out kind of sections too? I don't know if you want this to.
Yeah, we have that one. Yeah, we got that.
All right.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Yep.
See you next week.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thanks, Deb.
Thank you.
Okay.
See you later.
Thank you. All right, say hi to Scarborough. Madam Chair, I just want to point out one thing about the delegation meetings.
Yep.
That for further meetings of the delegation, so in RSA 24-9, it does say that upon the written request of the county commissioners, the delegation shall call a future meeting
Okay.
of the convention.
All right.
So if there's a written request from you, and there's an action that you need to take care of, they shall schedule
Okay.
a meeting.
We
Just-
will do
Just
that.
so you know that.
As soon as we have our meeting next week, we can send them off a letter.
Thank you.
We can not read it, we can send it.
Well, we definitely need to talk about this. I'm still not clear what we're gonna accomplish by doing the kitchen over and what it's gonna be used for. And that's my one question that nobody's answered yet.
Well, that's the biggest thing that the delegation wants, so.
And I mean, I understand Bob's comment about spending the money, or somebody else will, but that should not be the determining factor of whether we do this project or not. The determining factor should be whether it's cost effective and whether it's something we really should be doing. And regardless of what anybody says, these projects usually run over budget, at least 10%. So if you're planning on cutting it that thin, there's a lot of ifs and maybes here, and I do not feel comfortable with this at this point. But that's just me thinking out loud right this minute. I'm not saying we shouldn't do it, but there's just a lot of questions, and it's a lot of money.
We've done several things with Siemens, and have they been pretty right on with their estimates and when the final cost was?
Yeah, they did not go over on the energy project.
Right.
There were a couple of snafus during the project that did cost more money, and they did not bill us for it.
Were those rehabs or were those new projects?
A little bit of both. It was all based on energy management. But anything extra that was a result of that, they did not bill us extra for. And they came in at budget.
Okay, we have a bunch of non-publics,
I hope I get them all here.
and you can,
You'll have to mark them off as they go. All right, keep track of what I'm gonna do.
Okay.
Did you want to go back into the municipal records committee? We skipped over that.
no, I think we'll do it at the end, because
Okay.
we have people that are waiting. We can do that.
Okey-dokey.
Mhm. A, dismissal, go into non-public session. The dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, one, has the right to the meeting, and two, requests that the meeting be open in which the case the requested shall be granted. All right, let's see me out here. A, C, matters which, if discussed in public, would likely affect adversely the reputation of any person other than a member of the public body itself, unless such person requests an open meeting. This exemption shall extend to any application for assistance or tax abatement or waiver of a fee, fine, or other levy, if based on inability to pay or property of the applicant. There we go. Well, let's do I now we're at it. Consideration of matters relating to the preparation for the carrying out of emergency functions, including training to carry out such functions, developed by local and state safety officials that are directly intended to thwart a deliberate act that is intended to result in widespread or severe damage to property or widespread injury to loss of life. All right, we have 1A, C, I read C, I think.
Yeah, you do.
Hate policy, does that go under one of those? And Hale's location.
Yep, they're all
Yes.
A's.
And they're all in there, okay.
That's good. Yep.
We make a motion. We've got roll call?
We need a second.
Second.
Roll call vote.
Commissioner Nelson, yes. I'm sorry. Commissioner McKee
Yes.
and McCarthy.
Yes.
Please, Commissioner McCarthy.
11 o'clock.
11 o'clock. And just for your,
We have a non-meeting.
yeah, we have a non-meeting at 2, so we won't be coming back, probably not back into this to do just a couple of things until after 2 o'clock, so it's up to you if you want to stick around or not.
So you're going into non-public, then you're gonna come out of non-public, do a few things, and go to a non-meeting. Is that the
Yes.
right order?
Yep. But
So
the only thing that we have to do is,
Sorry to interrupt, I'm so sorry. I was just gonna say that unless the non-publics run into that non-meeting,
yep,
which they could. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 different topics for non-publics.
And what was the time for the non-meeting?
2 o'clock.
any of this stuff because I'm not.
Chris,
What I love for your guys' issues for roll.
Thank you.
You got it plugged in?